Today in the Nerdy Gritty, with the world full of chaos, we talk about the games that get us through tough times.
What more world disappears inside it? Just another hopeless addict. What that makes a man instead? If the drums don't get you, the guitars will.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am Dez.
And I'm Fox. Real quick here, we want to just take a second, instead of doing a fun, goofy intro like we usually do, we kind of want to take a moment and just talk about how, hey, there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. And all of that, all the protests, and all of it is going to inevitably affect the kind of things that we talk about. Video games, movies, 100%. We've had ideas of topics to talk about. We've reached out to some possible guests. It hasn't really panned out, and we don't feel like we on our own are really equipped to really talk about those things. So we took a couple weeks off because of that, and also because Des went on a little vacation.
I went on vacation. Again, craziness going on in our area. There was a place that was going into phase 2, and we were like, vacation,
boom,
go!
Jumping on that, yeah. So anyway, so we still have kind of ideas and plans to talk about some things specifically that relate to what's going on, but yeah, not really something we've done so far or really feel comfortable just talking about.
Yeah, so we took a week off trying to contact some people. Like Fox said, it hasn't quite panned out. And then still trying to get to that. But now we're at a point where we're like, hey, it's been a couple of weeks and we do have something to talk about.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of related. But also, I do want to point out that there is let me get to the actual page here. It's called the Bundle for Racial Justice and Equality. Oh, I scrolled so far down. This is a video game bundle that you can find on itch.io. You've probably seen articles if you look through these kind of articles about it. It is a $5 minimum. It's pay what you want, of course. You can pay as much as you want as long as it's at least $5 for, and I'm not making this number up, 1,741 games
as of now.
It has gone up since it existed.
Right.
It first existed
when
it first came together. It was
up.
something like 500.
Yep.
Like, it's gone crazy. Anyway, it's games and gaming related things like game making assets, as well as like tabletop RPG rule books and materials and such. There's a lot to it. And also some excellent games like Celeste and Night in the Woods and A Short Hike. And like there's so many games in here, and also some games that are on their own worth 3 or 4 times what you're paying for 1,741 items. They've raised $8,173,000 already. And so we encourage you guys to go ahead and jump on this.
Here's the truth. Unless you are directly opposed to supporting this, which don't know why you would be.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I hope that's not the case. But unless you're directly opposed to that, this is almost like an unpassable value.
Even if
you
want
now.
to, for some reason, ignore the fact that it goes to support. All proceeds will be donated to support the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund and the Community Bail Fund, split 50-50. Even if you want to ignore that fact, this is a ridiculous deal.
Yep.
And it's on itch.io, which is a game platform that basically it's the easiest. It seems as though it's a very easy platform for super indie developers to get on, like easier than Steam.
Yeah.
And so you get literally any kind of game you might want to play is going to be in this bundle. So absolutely jump on there. We're going to put a link in the description. Please jump on there and donate as much as you can.
Yeah, if you got $5, pitch it that way. If you got some more, pitch 100%,
some more. Because it's not just about the game. It's like a Kickstarter,
Yeah.
Look at it as not just like buying something, but as donating and then getting a reward. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one more time, sorry for our absence, but we're back, and as we're thinking
back,
about
baby.
As we're thinking about all this crazy stuff, you can go and support the NAACP and the Bail Project.
Yep, Community Bail Fund specifically.
Community Bail Funds. All right.
Yes.
Well, that's what we had. That we just wanted to talk to you guys about that real quick. Let's get into our news, though.
Yeah, some stuff has been going on.
There's some big stuff that's been going on. We're hoping to talk about that later. There's some other smaller stuff been going on, though. Hey, Fox.
Yeah.
This is something that it is so nerdy,
Okay.
but also not the typical nerdy stuff at all.
All right.
Did you know that a guy legitimately hid millions of dollars worth of treasure in the Rocky Mountains?
I saw like a headline about this, but did not investigate it.
So, after 10 years, a treasure chest worth millions was found in the Rocky Mountains.
What?
Now, let's be clear. People died searching for this treasure.
Wow.
People committed their lives to find this treasure,
Dang.
and they died. But Forrest Fenn, a New Mexican art dealer, revealed on Sunday that his famed treasure was found, according to a post on his website that confirmed to NBC News.
Okay.
The treasure, placed in the 13th century Romanesque bronze chest, was hidden between 2009 and 2010 with an estimated $2 million of gold, jewelry, and gems.
It's literally like a pirate treasure.
It's exactly that. He hid this in the Rocky Mountains in an undisclosed area, and there were like, I think, 10 hints.
Okay, so I was going to ask, like, was this just like, hey, I hid it in the Rocky Mountains, have fun? Or
9 clues in his memoirs.
in his memoir? Dang, this is like, there's going to be a movie about this eventually. Hey, remember how we talked about a while back, like the Oscars last year, how Netflix was kind of, we talked about Netflix has a hard time, or was having a hard time, getting movies submitted for the Oscars because of the super specific things, as well as in like we talked about a film festival. I think it was Toronto Film Festival that like there was a major theater that was presenting movies for it that refused to do Netflix things. Well, Netflix does not have, as far as it comes to the Oscars, Netflix does not have to worry about it anymore, because Netflix closed the deal to buy Hollywood's Egyptian theater.
Oh, was that where the Academy Awards are held?
No, this is...
Oh, no. Okay.
Do you know... Okay, Grauman's Chinese theater is the one where all the premieres are with all the, celebrities, the handwriting. If you're going down...
the Walk of Fame.
Right, yeah. Right by it. A major place. That's Grauman's Chinese theater. There is also Grauman's Egyptian theater, which is also
interesting,
very famous, and just is themed Egyptian-like.
Right.
And Netflix bought it.
So... They can just show whatever they want.
They can do what they want. Now it is a historical landmark. It closed down in like 1990 or something, and then was purchased by, American Cinematheque, or I don't know how to say that. Anyway, a company like a company that just uses it for not for profit. It's a nonprofit now where they screen movies, and Netflix now owns it and has promised, like, hey, you do your thing still. We will but we will be using it to show our movies, because if you haven't heard us talk about before, don't know this, that you have to meet very specific standards to be able to actually get a movie considered for the Oscars. Like literally in this county, showing this many times a day but during these specific times, and it's very outdated, but it still exists, and Netflix is having trouble, and now they don't. Now they can just, hey, we did it.
Remember like a year ago when Disney Plus was about to launch, and everyone was like, dude, what is Netflix gonna do? Are they gonna be okay? What is gonna happen with Netflix?
It'll be fine.
Man, they are better than ever, I would say.
Netflix
their content has gotten so good.
Right.
Hey Fox, what have you been up to?
A whole lot, since it's been several weeks.
Yes, it's been 2 weeks since we recorded a podcast.
And several weeks where we both have a lot more time on our hands now. You were on vacation for a few days, but neither of us has, like, you don't have a job at all right now.
Nope.
And I have one that I mostly work from home with. So
yeah.
Anyway, I've watched several movies. The first one I'll talk about is The Guest.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a movie. So essentially, it's a movie about a family in some nowhere town gets a knock on the door, and it's a soldier who claims he was part of their son who was killed in action. From his unit, and so he shows up and hey, your son wanted me to tell you these things, and he's super charming, super nice, and they invite him to stay. And I don't want to spoil it because there's some things that you're gonna want to know as you go through. But let's just say this guy is not he's not nice.
I told you last time that we finished the series of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You did?
We've started watching Legend of Korra as a family. It is our family show that we watch together.
Yeah, I never watched Korra.
And we just started season 2, so I cannot speak to the entirety of the series, but I can say I liked season 1 of Legend of Korra way more than I liked season 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, I'm sure they had their tone down a little bit.
Right, and I enjoy season 1 of Avatar a ton. It's fantastic. It's great, but Legend of Korra, the entire setting right off the bat is steampunk, by the way.
Sure,
And
it's farther in the future.
right, because it's 100 years in the future or whatever in the future.
Advanced, yeah.
And so it looks so cool. And I love steampunk as a theme setting and whatnot. So they have all kinds of cool things there. Number 2, they know right off the bat what they're trying to do, where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
Filler episodes just aren't really a thing in this. And so there is so much more character building, so much more growth, and so all fit within the plot of this whole thing. And number 3, it's just as relevant to kids and today. It's about like a rebellion of racism and the races trying to overtake, because they're racist against benders in general. Like they hate benders.
Right.
And they're trying to overtake this entire city as a terrorist group. And it's so freaking relevant and so freaking good.
What did I watch? Let me get back to my list here. Artemis Fowl.
You watched it?
I did. I love the Artemis Fowl book series.
Yeah.
I read them many, many times as a child. They were the books that I got every year when they were available, of course, at the like Scholastic book fairs. I would get them. I still have 6 of the 8 of them.
Hey,
I've
you
repurchased them.
I've got
that movie sucked.
I got tissues here. You're
I
gonna need
hate
them
it.
for this.
I hate that movie. It's like the Avatar movie. You said you watched that also.
Yes. Oh,
and you've told me, hey,
terrible.
even if you haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, this movie sucks.
Yes.
So does Artemis Fowl. It's a bad movie.
I saw 2 very good movies.
Ooh.
One that was good, and the other one maybe one of the best movies I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
I saw Rocketman, the
Rocketman.
Elton John
Taron
musical.
Egerton.
Yeah, and it was really good.
Was it an actual musical?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even better movie, one of the best movies in a long time, and you've already talked about it, Knives Out.
Knives Out.
I
I've
finally
watched
watched Knives Out. Holy crap.
It's such a fun like classic movie.
Yes. Oh my gosh, was it good. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a classic whodunit, very Poirot style.
Yeah.
And
it's 100% the new Poirot.
Yeah,
It's, what's his name?
His name is
It's a kind of a goofy name.
Benoit Blanc.
Benoit Blanc.
Yeah, and he's a Southern gentleman. It's Daniel Craig.
So good.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
It's a donut.
It's a donut within
There's a
the
whole-
donut.
yeah, donut.
So I don't want to give it away. I'm not going to spoil anything because holy crap, go watch Knives Out. It's so
thrilling.
good.
Anyway, I watched a movie called Da 5 Bloods,
Oh yeah.
the new Spike Lee movie on Netflix. It was pretty good. I'll give it that. It was obviously very timely, and
Right.
like I mean that to say like you don't like those things take a long time. Movies take a long time to make. They weren't just randomly like. There are people on the internet who will say, "Oh, it's just Netflix trying to be woke."
Right.
Well, first of all, watch a Spike Lee movie.
Yeah, they all.
That's what he does. That's his
Yes.
deal. He's great at it. It was it's a movie about a unit in squad. I don't know what the term is. 4 Vietnam veterans who are all black coming to Vietnam to find the remains of their squad leader who was killed in action. And also there's some other stuff going on. It's actually not really a spoiler. I think it's even in the trailers. But
Yeah,
they also found a case of gold in a plane that was shot down and said, "This is ours now. It's reparations. It's for our people." So at the same time as they're doing this thing, like trying to find their squad leader, they're also trying to find this gold that they also buried somewhere. And it's a great concept. I think it was a little too long.
Well, that's it for me.
That's all I've got.
Well, then should we get down
Let's
to
get
that
down
there
to the old nerdy
gritty?
gritty.
Hey, before we do that, we just want to let you guys know that if you're hearing this exact part right now, that means you're listening to an edited version of our podcast called the short version, right?
Yeah,
the short version.
No, we don't call it the short version.
The other one's called the director's
The other
cut.
one's called the director's
That's
cut.
what it is.
This is just the nerdy gritty.
The nerdy gritty, yeah. Before the whole intro part where we talk about things we've done and whatnot is edited down pretty heavily. And after this, of course, when we get to the actual nerdy gritty, that is not edited at all. But if you like hearing us chat and banter, you may want to go and check out our Patreon. It's at patreon.com/dezandfox. And at our second tier, you get access to the director's cut of the nerdy gritty, an unedited version. Sometimes we edit out, 20 minutes?
Typically, it's about 20 to 30 minutes, and sometimes it's a lot more than
Yeah.
that, depending on how long we go.
And so there's a lot of extra content. Not just that, though. You get access to our Discord. You get access to our Patreon exclusive content. A lot of videos, a lot of other stuff that goes on. So go check that out, please. Patreon.com/dezandfox. If you can't do that, though, we love your support however you give it. So liking this video, sharing it, telling other people about it. We don't pay to advertise, so word of mouth is the only way we get around. So please, let people know you're listening. Thanks a lot, guys. Let's get down to that nerdy gritty. So with the world kind of being the way that it's been recently.
Sure, let's put it that way. Very vague.
Yeah.
But we all know what we're talking about.
Hey, remember when Australia was on fire? That was this year.
It was 30 years ago in January.
2020 has been a ride, to say the least.
These last 6 months have been 12 years long.
It's been insane.
So much going on. Like a presidential impeachment took place this year.
Oh yeah, that was this year. Oh my gosh.
So much going on.
That guy's still around.
He
Hey, well, nope.
He
No.
is. I'm not going to say anymore, but he is.
Yes. We decided we want to talk about video games that got us or can get you through hard times.
Sure.
Our goal here is that we know that a lot of people have extra time on their hands right now. At best, places are opening little bits with limitations and things right now.
Yeah.
At the worst, some places like where we're at, we don't actually open and we don't go into phase 1 until Monday.
Oregon's phase 1. Not
Yeah.
everywhere's the same, but yeah, we haven't even gone. Nothing's opened up yet.
Right. We are still in our like base quarantine that we've been in. So for a lot of us, we have extra time on our hands. So much is going on right now in our nation, like the United States. I don't know where you're listening, but in our nation in particular, or all over the world, this is going on too. And so we decided we would talk about, hey, if you are in a place of struggle right now, you are tough, here are some video games that we play, or games in general that we've played that may be helping you right now. That's really going to be our conversation, guys. It's going to be a very chill, very relaxed conversation on things that have helped us in the past. So I'm going to kick it off to you, Fox.
Please.
What do you got first here?
Well, I think we took, as we so often do, a little bit of a different direction.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
We talked about it a little bit. I think your direction was more of like games that you, in the past,
Personally,
associate with tough times in your life.
Yeah.
I'm sure I have those. I couldn't tell you what they are right now, though. So the direction I kind of went in was games that I think can address different kinds of times that we're in.
Oh, for sure.
Games that are useful for dealing with struggles.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start with my most obscure one, that I played a lot of, but is also incredibly. It's just one, like, for you right now. I think one of the games that you can just play without thinking about it is Slay the Spire.
Yep.
For me, there was a good long while where the game I would just play without thinking about it was called Beat Hazard. This I played a lot as an intern.
Yeah, this sounds
Do
familiar.
you remember? So it's essentially a bullet hell rhythm game.
Okay.
Which there have been games like that that
yeah.
have come out. Just Beats and Shapes is maybe
Shapes
not
and Beats.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Other games like that, but this was 10 years ago now, almost. It is a bullet hell rhythm game that you can put your own music in, and the enemies and the like visuals will move around to the beat of your music, and the louder, faster it gets, the harder the harder the game gets. And it is just this mesmerizing game that I think is very good if all you want to do, there are lots of games that you can do this with, but if all you want to do is just tune out, to just put your brain in auto mode, maybe even have a TV show on or something, because this game doesn't take a lot of, like, it's just you get into a zone, that kind of thing. or it even helps with like your brain is actively not thinking about this, so you can even think about other things that are going on and kind of work through stuff while you're distracting yourself on the surface. Anyway, Beat Hazard, it's on Steam. It's really good. I think Beat Hazard 2 has come out since then.
I love that pick, Fox, because that's one you said you can import your own music.
Yeah.
And that's going to mean so much to people
100%.
because especially for me, like DDR, Just Shapes and Beats, those games are great. And I enjoy the music because I enjoyed the games.
Right.
But typically that's not music that I'm going to be listening to on my own.
Sure.
Sans the game or whatever else. I don't dislike it, but it's fine. It's good music. But man, if I could import my preferred playlist in there, and then depending on my mood, maybe I just need some chill jams. Maybe I need something real heavy.
Maybe I'll just
socks
Beat
off.
Hazard to some Enya for a while. It'll be super easy.
What can they see on the
That's not Enya, but that's
no, that's
Anne, what's her name from?
But
Eurythmics.
just something super chill, or it could be something super heavy. Yeah.
We understand. Incredible. Yeah, no, I played a lot of Metallica on the thing, like 8-minute song, like marathons.
Yes.
You can put on a whole album, or basically like, hey, use this folder on my computer and just nonstop play for as long as I want to go. It's really fun, and you can get into a groove really easily. It is an excellent game for if things are rough and you just want to zone out. Because there's nothing in the game to think about that will cause you to think about anything. You're just shooting bad guys with your little ship.
That's a good pick, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
For me, and you're right, went a little bit different direction here. I'm going to talk specifically about a time when I was about 13 years old, and I moved like 5 miles south. Definitely not a big move at all, but when you're in middle school, it might as well be the eternity away because I can't walk to my friend's house anymore.
Right.
Literally, my two best friends at the time, one of them lived 6 houses down from me. The other one, we lived back to back to each other. We would hop the backyard fence and knock on each other's back doors.
There you go.
And now to be in a place where I cannot get to these places
now
without
you have to ask for a ride.
Yeah, it was real rough on me, and it was real tough. And of course, there was FOMO at the time too of just they still get to hang out all the time.
They get to hang out all the time.
Yeah. So it was a real tough time for me when I felt really, really lonely. It was right about this exact same time that the original Final Fantasy VII came out. This was a really big deal to me because this game helped introduce to me the importance of relationships. We've talked about this a lot. There's actually a literal measurement on relationships in there, but it's not just that, like who is gonna get that special scene with Cloud at one point, but there is so much going on with Red 13's relationship with his family, or Vincent Valentine's relationship with the woman that he loved, or Cloud's relationship with either Tifa or Aerith, Barrett's relationship with Marlene, and all of Avalanche. Like, in so many ways, this game, relationships are vital to it. So vital to it. And to me, it helped me feel like I had this group of people I was with again. And being able to pump 50 hours into this game,
play the crap out of it,
feeling like I had these people who were struggling, and obviously like they were struggling with a world ending thing. And so to me, it was like this perspective thing also, like, you know what, there's a much bigger things that could be happening or whatever else. And it was so good for me to see these people having an incredibly difficult time, but also dealing with their interpersonal relationships at a time in my life when I felt like my interpersonal relationships were kind of crappy. So yeah, that was a good one for me.
Another thing that video games can really be good for is catharsis.
Oh, wholeheartedly.
Really, just putting your emotion into a game and just victory and just like, and I mean, this might be an obvious choice, but the big one here is Doom.
Yeah.
I'm saying Doom's 2016 specifically. The original Doom is fun, but it does not have the visceral quality that they brought into Doom 2016, specifically with the finishers. When an enemy is damaged enough and they start flashing, and you can run in and literally punch their head and it explodes, basically just a Mortal Kombat fatality in half a second. Then you just run to the next one, and like, as well as of course like the super excellent heavy metal soundtrack, one of the best game scores ever made, I think. Like fast moving combat. To do better, you have to do more violence. Like that's
exactly what we need right now.
Look, video game violence is not real violence.
That's so
true. Let's say that.
So many studies to say exactly that.
Right.
Yes.
So there are lots of games that can be cathartic for a lot of people, but Doom is just such an easy one to just say, "Oh, I'm just going to tear through. I'm going to rip and tear through these enemies and pull their faces off and pull this thing's heart out and make him eat it, and then he explodes for some reason, and then shoot this guy with a rocket launcher and and do all these things." Or Doom, Hell, or not Hell on Earth, but Eternal kind of just amps it up, of course, with adding in the meat hook and like all these things. But Doom 2016 is incredibly good at making you feel like power fantasy is a huge thing in a lot of games.
Oh, absolutely.
But Doom 2016 takes that to the nth degree, where it's like the very first thing that happens is you wake up like chained to a altar. There's a zombie enemy coming towards you. You're not in control yet, but the first thing you do is break free of your chains, grab that enemy, and slam his head into the altar and kill him. And at one point, like, it was so good. One of the other characters in the game, one of the few other characters in the game, is like, "You have to go do this, and this is," and then but he's talking to you through a screen, and then you just say, you don't say anything. You just take the screen and smash it. You just don't care what he's saying. You are here to tear apart demons, and they understood what this game was about and did it perfectly.
I felt that way about the original God of War. I've never played a Doom before, to be clear, but the original God of War, this was before we knew who Kratos was,
right? And
what a God of War game was
War, the very first God of War, is excellent also.
Oh my gosh. And so here's this game where all of a sudden you're out there fighting these classic Greek tragedy, but you're out there fighting these fantastical creatures from mythical creatures. That's the phrase I was looking for.
There you go.
And you go in, but every single one you kill, you have this option to individually rip off the wings of a harpy.
How can you specifically tear this thing in half?
This one, they have these things where you would like throw your blade into one, run around it, and then pull, and it would just like zip all the way around.
Oh man,
just horrific brutality on everything. But in it, catharsis is the perfect word. You said it, because in it you just feel Kratos' rage just pouring out on these things.
It's not the most emotionally cathartic, I think, as far as like it's visceral, but it doesn't lead to anything most of the time. It's just like get the emotion out of you, but it doesn't resolve itself, I think.
Yeah.
But there are moments, like I think it's in God of War 3 when you fight Hercules. I might be mistaking this when you fight Zeus also. Like at one point you are like the camera goes into the perspective. You've defeated this enemy. I think it's Zeus or Hercules, one of those. You are in the perspective seeing Kratos like looming above you, and you're still controlling Kratos, and you get to punch. I'm gonna say Zeus. You punch Zeus in the face, and it lets you do it as long as you want.
Oh yeah,
until the screen turns red.
Yes,
and you can continue, and you are just destroying this person. And again, doesn't really go anywhere. Like they got less good until they hit the new series of the 2018 God of War. But just like Doom, it's viscerally satisfying. You get to feel like the most powerful MFer that's gonna tear apart the entire world. And sometimes it can be like when you feel a little impotent in real life and you can't really make much change on your own. At least you can destroy harpies.
Just rip their wings off,
tear apart the gods themselves.
For me, I'd say 3 years ago-ish now is when I, for the first time in my life, started dealing with depression. And, you get older in your years, and it's just something your body naturally does. It's weird, but also just life had come at me crazy at the time, and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, at around the same time, of course, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice came out.
Gonna bring this up again.
Oh, always. I'll always bring
always
up
and
Hellblade,
forever.
man. This game to me was huge because here was a human being, by the way, yet another shout out to Melina Juergens and her outstanding performance as Senua. But just seeing somebody be so strong through her mental illness was so cool.
Yeah.
And then having the ability to communicate that through a video game, and then to me, one of the coolest parts of it, and one of the parts that I identified with the most, was that in the game there's a voice that speaks to her. It's like this deep, angry voice, and it's sometimes the voice of her father, sometimes it's her own voice, sometimes it's just a voice, and it's always like this: you can't do this, it's not going to happen, you won't do this, you know, how could you, you're worthless, you're terrible, you're bad in every way, you're sick, and there's no way you'll ever get through this. And but of course, every single time Senua gets back up and keeps going, and it's not that she's able to get past it or ignore it or anything like that, it's that she's stronger than it,
Right.
and that's it. She's just stronger than it, and so she keeps going. And oh, it was so cool to see that. And of course, Senua herself deals with so many other illnesses, like voice hearing and paranoia and schizophrenia and things like that. But seeing this character who's so young and so innocent, but also just so hurt, being so strong at the same time, was a huge deal to me as a 35-year-old man.
Yeah.
Huge deal. And if you guys watch any videos of mine, Fox, for my birthday, I think it was either my birthday or Christmas, got me this super cool picture of Senua, and it's on a page of Greek, like a Greek dictionary type thing. And anyway, it's framed on my shelf right now because Senua is the coolest. She's
all right.
She's the best.
Along those lines, and coming from the from a more emotionally healthy place of feeling a different kind of power fantasy. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Celeste.
Oh yeah.
You haven't played Celeste. I don't know if you've watched the playthrough.
I watched the playthrough.
Okay.
A couple.
I played through Celeste. I don't like difficult games.
Yeah.
I've learned that about myself. I get angry at them in sometimes a dumb way when I'm just bad at it. Celeste, like, that's true for Dark Souls for me, or it was true for Sekiro. Celeste was a difficult game about a girl who doesn't feel like she can overcome the difficulty she's going through, and then does. And the music is great. It's a very peaceful game. It's a very, at the same time as it's difficult, it's also fairly forgiving, because you never go too far without having a play, like a checkpoint, that kind of thing. And there are also very good, they recognize, hey, we made a difficult game, but also the story of this game is what's more important. So they gave you some ways to, if you felt
accessibility is huge in this game. Yeah,
as far as the difficulty goes and things like that. And they gave you a lot of ways to fine tune how much of a challenge you want. But that game, like, it takes that idea of feeling powerful because you overcame a challenge and makes it's almost a meta quality.
Yeah.
Because it's about a girl climbing a mountain, Mount Celeste.
Right.
And she is there's some, it's a difficult thing to do. She's told by other people that she can't do it. She also there's a lot of like inner monologue going on in the form of evil Celeste, basically.
Yeah.
Her quote in another game, it'd be the Nega Self or the Dark Link or whatever. And what I loved about that game was that instead of saying, okay, if we're going to go with the Ocarina of Time Dark Link, instead of you just having to stab and kill that part of you, it's actually no. It's like what's the Emotions movie? The Pixar Emotions movie.
Inside Out.
Inside Out. The end of the movie is not saying, hey, happiness is the best emotion. All the other ones, yeah, you might feel them, but happiness is the best. The end of that movie is, no, every emotion can be good and every emotion can be bad.
Right.
And every person deals with all of them, and the true, like, quote unquote joy or happiness can be found when you can reconcile that.
Yeah.
When the difficult things that you struggle with are not seen as just personality flaws, but is seen as just part of who you are, and you might still struggle with them, but to recognize that they don't devalue you as a human. And that was incredibly well done in this game. For being such a quote unquote like simple game, like as far as visually it's just pixel art, it's it does a great job of talking about the truth that, hey, things are going to be difficult and you can overcome them, and that doesn't always mean violently destroying things.
Right.
The power fantasy is being able to recognize, like in that game, it's being able to recognize that you are powerful because of every part of your personality, not because you can just stuff something away that you are scared of.
Yeah,
and
I love that she ends up reconciling with
she
that
does.
nega self
Yeah,
of hers. Yeah,
it's
so good.
She's scary at first because she chases you, and you're like, oh, it's just evil, whatever. I
Right.
forget the character's name. It's just evil her. Oh wait, no, it's not.
I want to say
not.
Melissa.
I don't think that's
No,
it, but
okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do a good. It was a very Ghibli Studios, I thought, where a lot of Ghibli Studios, you watch Spirited Away, there's the no face demon, but Madeline, that makes sense. A lot of Ghibli Studios don't really have a antagonist. They don't have a kill the enemy to win at the end. It's really about finding balance and finding reconciliation, and I really appreciate it, and Celeste did that really well.
Celeste was fantastic with that, and of course they have people along the way that you meet that are dealing with their own things,
100%,
or just kind of chill people at the same time. Like so much of self-reflection is done in Celeste and done so successfully without being ham-handed or cheesy about it.
Right? Yeah, there's the hotel like owner, who you talk to, who just he can't move on.
Yep.
From the thing that he did. And it is really good.
It's real good. My last one that I have here is, and you already mentioned it, Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire to me is kind of like you were talking about it, background games.
Yeah.
Is the type of game to me that once you're really in the mode of it and once you're really getting it, it is such an easy game just to enjoy and love casually. Getting to that point, though, is one of such accomplishment. When I really got into Slay the Spire, it was a couple years ago, man, not even quite a couple years ago, about a year ago, I had surgeries and was down for almost 6 months.
Good amount of time, yeah.
Yeah, bedridden practically for almost 6 months. And I felt a lot of like uselessness. Like, hey, there's nothing I can do about this. I can't help it all around the house. Like, I'm so useless. And being able to become good at something was so helpful to me. And Celeste, Slay the Spire is something that I believe anybody can become good at. It is such a simple game, but literally every day it's something new. They have a daily challenge, and so every single day you can take an hour to 2 hours somewhere in that area and say to yourself, I'm going to try this. The coolest thing about the daily challenge to me is it's exactly the same every time. So if you go through, you get halfway and you lose, then you can start back from the beginning and you know what's coming.
You know what to expect.
You know what to expect. And so you can be better until you get to that halfway point. It renews every day, every 24 hours. But for that 24 hours, you can try as many times as you want. And you could memorize the whole thing if you want. There are like speed runs online of Slay the Spire beat in like 3 minutes because they've memorized the entire seed.
They're not even playing it. They're just inputting commands in the correct order.
Yep. And so this is one of those things where repetition absolutely will bring you progress. And that is something that for me was really important at the time. And I think a lot of people, especially in the pandemic and just being stuck at home so much, could really use this idea of here is something that I can get better at. That today I'm this good and tomorrow I can absolutely see that I'm better at it. And it doesn't really have an end. So like, in 30 hours, I'm not going to be done with this game. Every little day I can get a little bit better. Every day the challenge is different. Every day something's unique, but it's so easy to learn, but it takes so long to master. But every single day you play it, you can see you're a little bit better. And I still love it. It to me is one of my all-time favorite video games, even though it has zero narrative.
Sure.
I have, I think, 400 hours put into this game now,
That's
so
awesome.
It's real good. That's it for me.
I've got one last one.
Okay, go ahead, man.
And I think everybody's got this game. It's that one that they can... There's a background game that a lot of people have that is just tune out, do whatever, watch TV, and play this game on the side. There's also that game that's just like once at least every year you just get the hankering to play it again. Just that one that's like, oh, this feels home. And for me, that's Skyrim.
Oh yeah.
Which I think it's true for a lot of people because they wouldn't release it on every freaking system. And I'm just waiting for the PS5 announcement. But Skyrim is a game that is, man, there's a different conversation about it now. But it's 9 years old now, almost 9 years old. It came out November 11th, 2011. I was waiting in line at midnight.
It's insane.
It is a game that you can simply, like, it's a weird thing. I will do the same thing every time I play that game. I will jump in.
Sneaky archer.
I'm a sneaky archer. I go through
Riverwood.
Way, I go do that first quest where you got to get the dragon's claw for the shopkeeper in Riverwood. I'll just go through the story, and then I'll get to a certain point where I go up to the sky, the Greybeards or whatever, and like learn from them. And then after that, I'll do the Thieves Guild, and like it's just like, why is it fun to do the same thing every time? It's because it feels like it's comfort. It feels like home, and I'm really like. I'm probably going to play it again at some point in the next couple of months because it's been a long time. And it's also, I mean, there's catharsis, of course, to this too. But when I'm going to say here, psychologically, it's the element of every single day in the real world, something new happens. You know, politically, environmentally, whatever it is. It's impossible to predict what's going to happen tomorrow if we learned anything from the last 6 months.
No kidding,
I can predict what I'm going to do in Skyrim every time.
Yeah.
You can talk to Blue in the Face about how, its systems or whatever, sure, of course it has its flaws as every game does. And those are more clear now because we have better games, but that comfort of predictability of going back in and just saying, you know what, I think I'll do the Fighters Guild and just go wreck some face, like, That's one of those ones where it's just like, hey, I know what's going on here.
Yep.
We all seek predictability at a certain point, and Skyrim can bring that.
It's the warm blankets of video games.
Yeah.
It really is. For me, actually, it was Oblivion, where I put like 80 hours into Oblivion, which is the most hours I'd ever put into a video game up until that point. And then the Shimmering Isles expansion came out, and I played the entire game over again and the Shimmering Isles after that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was the same time.
It was a great expansion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thanks for listening. Hey, let us know what your comfort game is. A game that helps you get through a hard time, a game that helps you relax, and more importantly, a game that's just right for you right now. Let us know, hey, honestly, how are you? You doing all right?
Yeah, tell us how you are. We genuinely want to know.
Yeah, for real. Thank you to Granger for the use of our theme song, All My Friends Have Wi-Fi, and some of my neighbors do too, off of the album Dear Sam. Every once in a while, I'll just get a hankering to go in and listen to that album. It's
fun.
Yeah. We should play. What's that first game you mentioned?
Beat Hazard.
Let's
play Beat Hazard. Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh,
yeah.
man. That'd be real good.
I want to point out we got a bunch of stuff on our YouTube channel, as always. As of recording this, actually, The Last of Us comes out tomorrow. Last of Us 2, which means my playthrough of The Last of Us, the first one,
will be ending.
Ends today, as of recording. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get the game. We're not going to get the game until Tuesday, the day. We're getting it later than we should anyway. So there's going to be a bit of a gap there, but that's on our channel, as well as Final Fantasy.
No, Final Fantasy 7 ended. I took a bit of a break.
Yep.
Code Vein will be starting back up.
Oh, great.
Very soon here.
Code Vein, as well as Days Gone, I assume is still going.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the world's longest video game.
And Evan's Remains is when we did the last Steam Game Festival. It was a bunch of like the indie games, and one of them I just fell in love with. Just released, and I picked it up, and I'm going to play through it, and that'll be going up on our channel soon too.
Excellent. So. Yeah, so we got lots of stuff going on, and not to mention almost literally a million videos from our 4 years of doing this. We put a lot of content up. Anyway, yeah, so there's something there for you to watch.
Yep. Thanks again for listening, guys, and always remember that save games, save lives.
See you next week.
My voice sings